In this new short clip for the new Rantament, let me recommend to you a book to read. And it's a very short work, but I think, despite its shortness, it is a monumental work. A monumental piece of not just science reading, but also art. And it's a booklet called White Holes by Carlo Rovelli. It is, of course, as the name suggests, about white holes. I'm not going to go into detail as to what a white hole is. It is basically the opposite of a black hole. And so if you, for some reason, clicked on this video, I will assume that you did so because you know what a black hole is or a white hole is. So you don't need me to science-plain things to you. And so this short book about white holes is one of the most influential and beautiful things that I've read in my life. Because it is a work that breaks your perception of reality. Or changes it. Maybe not breaks it, but changes it and boosts the flexibility of your imagination. So whatever you think you knew about these things, whatever you had in your brain as solid concepts, it helps you to break out of them. Because I was going to say, it helps you break through them, but when I say it like this, it sounds like it's a negative thing to have an idea of what things are. No, it doesn't break and turn over whatever you think you knew. It improves on your ability to be able to see things even more differently than before. It gives you an increased level of imaginative flexibility, specifically when it comes to physics and the reality around you. Because this is what these subjects are ultimately about. Astronomy, physics, astrophysics. These are all subjects that explore not specifically space or planets or whatever. They explore, first of all, reality. Physical reality as it is around you. The nature of things. And, given that they deal with that, I make a comparison as to what other works of art deal with, be it literature, or films, or visual arts, whatever it is. All the rest of it that doesn't deal with the nature of your reality, it's automatically not as important, in my view. Because what is more important than understanding the nature of your immediate surroundings? The fabric of your existence. Nothing is more important than this. And I had a wonderful talk about this with my channel mate, Hidden in Sofia, about how relevant is anything else besides this. Given how this is the most important thing in life, understanding your reality and the reality of the world, how can anything else be more important? And hence, how are people dealing with anything else? How do people care about politics, about wars, about history, about tradition, about community and family, whatever it is? How do people care about anything else when the reality of things, the physical reality of things, is of the utmost importance? Because I've been dealing with this question, struggling internally with it for years now. I fail to perceive how people do not seem to see this problem, and how basically, in my view, and actually we, because this includes me, how we waste our lives for everyday bullshit. We get carried away with such stupid, pointless crap, instead of focusing on what matters. And she brought up to me the point that the grandness of the universe is indeed monumentally important, but at the same time, you can't just fuck your life over because of it. You cannot just leave everything aside, stop caring about family and food and shelter or whatever, and just start looking at the stars. In other words, you cannot stop caring about the present moment and the pressing physical needs that you have right now and in the close future as you go along your life as everybody else. And I replied that, in my sense, from all the things that I've read about astronomy and space and time and relativity, the present moment is not in any sense detached from this physical reality that we need to focus first on. The present moment is within that. If you want to take care of the present moment, of your present needs, the best way to do it is, again, to focus on understanding space and time around you. Because as I see it, and as far as I understand relativity, there is no such a thing as a present moment. Time is not linear. Everybody perceives this as a given, that time is one line. And you go along the line, you move just forward, you have the present, you have the past, you have the future, and that's that. And it's not. It's not like that. Time is relative is a sentence that people generally don't make sense of, at least in my view. Time being relative means that time isn't just one line. It's not even a plane, it's not a sphere, it's a dimension that we have not grasped yet, and that we cannot move along freely. We're just trapped in this linear direction, and this is why we have the illusion that the present moment is what matters most, the pressing needs of the present. And that is exactly the delusion that we fall into. The present moment doesn't exist. It's all one dimension. We just have not understood it because not enough people focus on it. And maybe if they did, if we lived in a utopia where everybody could agree that we have to look at this first no matter what, I bet you we could figure it out. And when we do, when time is no longer just a line for us, and we can traverse it freely, the present moment becomes obsolete, as a concept. The future becomes obsolete, the past becomes obsolete too. There's no dead people anymore. Nobody died. Nobody's born. We're all here somehow. But anyway, I got off track. This is the conversation that she and I had. And this is the thing that I wanted to point out as a side effect that comes along with reading a book such as this one, White Holes by Rovelli. Now, the book itself is really short, really poetically written. That's the other thing. It's a science book written as a piece of literature. It's so beautifully written out in kind of a George Martin-esque language. And the author uses a lot of references to the Inferno. So it's basically not only a popular science book written for idiots like me, but it's a popular science book that has been saved from the popular science cliche, like a science book, but for those of us that are stupid. No, it's given to us, and it's still a piece of beauty. It's both really pleasant to read. It's also, as far as I can tell, scientifically accurate in terms of what a black hole is, what a white hole is. It gives you really easy metaphors that help you understand what a black hole is, because I found with other books about black holes that every time I buy one, and it is from a popular scientist, with a glaring title, easily explained, made easy, and whatever, for amateurs, and every time I find myself struggling even with those. And with this one, this is not the case. It really explains it in a beautiful, simple language. Of course, you need to have a little bit of background into the topic. Let's say you don't know what a fucking black hole is, and you read this book, yeah, you'd have difficulty. But if you're like me, you have this basic idea of what it is, meaning that you can explain it, you know what it is physically, but you don't know the math, which I don't, I suck at maths. If you're at this level, this book is completely fine for you, and you will understand everything, and it'll be given to you in a beautiful language. So it's an absolute gem of a book. And when I bought it, it was the first time that I heard about this author, and it is really rare for me that I will buy a book from someone I don't know. And in this case, I did, and I'm so glad, because it turned out to be one of my top favorite books of all time. For real, it's really a gem. If you can get it, let yourself experience this beautiful prism of scientific art to help you understand your reality and also break it up a bit in a pleasant way. And of course, the book is based on the author's theory that I will not spoil, but apparently it's a novel theory about white holes and about what happens inside a black hole. Because, the consensus now is that within the black hole you have the singularity, the laws of physics stop working there, and this is basically where nobody knows what happens next. This book says otherwise, and proposes a theory of what happens inside a black hole, which it then connects to the titular white holes. And I'll leave it at that. I hope you find it and enjoy it.